Okay, so good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time this morning. My name's Dan from Arthur, as I mentioned before, and today we're going to be talking about working in the new normal. So this is the post-COVID era that we're almost in now, and really just looking at how property management and how your business is changing and what you can do to work within there and keep yourselves efficient and agile. So a bit of background first on Arthur. So Arthur is property management software, completely cloud-based, and the whole idea surrounding the software and why it's here in the first place is there to streamline your property management, increase your efficiency, allow you to work from anywhere you've got access to the internet, and just continue to support you and allow your business to grow. Okay. So in the COVID era, there's been quite a few problems that have been faced by property managers. Some of them are sort of across the entire workforce within the country. Others are slightly more specific to property managers. So the first one you have is working from home. Obviously, this has now started to ease since August, but lots of those issues are still there. There's your difficulties surrounding your viewings and how to manage that. Confidence in new tenants that you can find, and then tracking payment plans for existing tenants that you have at the moment, and also issues surrounding the ability to organize maintenance and get those surrounded. Okay. So we're going to run through all of these and look at some of the issues and some of the solutions that you can look to put in place to help yourselves with these as well. So working from home. There's a few different things that you can do in order to help your team working from home. Obviously, issues that surrounded, particularly from a manager's perspective, is tracking your tracking your team, knowing what they're doing. Are they working? Aren't they working? What's going on? And actually, you'll see on the right-hand side there that in 2019, pre-COVID, it was found that the average worker is productive for 3 hours a day. Now, there's currently a debate as to whether people are more productive working from home or not, but there remains an issue of knowing whether they are. Okay. So there's some really simple things you can do to help with this. The first bit is as simple as ask them to sign in and sign out at the start of the day, whether that is using solutions such as Microsoft Teams or Slack or even just emails, whatever it might be. It means that you know that they're there and they're logged in and they're ready to work. Running reports to track the work they're completing is really useful as well. So as long as you've got a system in place that allows you to see what work they're doing, you can pull those reports and see how effective and efficient they're being whilst they're working from home. And that sort of leads into needing user-defined KPIs and due dates for work. So giving your staff members key KPIs that they need to hit, whether that's calls, whether that's the length of time it takes to organize a maintenance repair, whatever it might be, number of emails sent. Those key KPIs allow you to quickly and easily track exactly what they're doing and how close they are in order to hitting their KPIs and the sort of work level you expect from them. You've also got your regular meetings with staff. So these, I think, are really useful. It's something that we as Arthur have implemented during lockdown, is more regular than what you would do in the office, structured times, whether it's twice a week or 3 times a week, however often you might want to do them, tracking them, checking in on them, seeing how they're doing with their workload and what they've got on. But it's not just about that. So everyone's really had different experiences in working from home. Some people have nice setups, others might be like myself, sat on my dining room table at the moment. And it's just a case of checking in and seeing how they're doing. Is there anything that you can do to help them for work, whether they need to potentially, now they can start coming into the office a couple of days a week to aid them, whatever it might be. Okay. Random phone-ins are also really useful. Okay, so this means that you can track in and check and see exactly what's happening from there. So it's a case of, rather than just the structured sign in and sign out, at some point during the day, giving them a call, seeing what they're up to. And that is just a case of making sure that they are working. And then also ensuring that the correct equipment is supplied to those individuals as well. So as I mentioned before, people were having different experiences and have different setups at home, and it's making sure the equipment that they currently have is suitable for what they need working from home. So this could be anything from ensuring they've got the correct headsets for making calls with the correct connections, through to laptop stands, wireless keyboards and mouse, whatever it might be, but making sure that there aren't any distractions or any issues for them whilst they're working from home, to really hope that we can increase that average productivity per day. Okay. Having said all this, one thing that you need to make sure you're not doing is micromanagement and talking continuously and interrupting their day. There needs to be an element of trust when it comes to working from home. And as long as you can see that they're hitting their KPIs and due dates, using those reports, or even just looking at them updating you on project work they might be doing, that allows you to give them their trust and make sure that they can carry on without you needing to micromanage. The next issue, and this is more related specifically to property management, is dealing with viewings. So this is something that all of you would have experienced, I'm sure. So at the moment, you need to make sure that you haven't got any tenants in properties whilst they're being viewed, and then obviously you've got PPE whilst you're viewing them. Now, potential tenants are obviously worried about the move and whether everything's going to be okay, but also your existing tenants are worried that they have to leave and strangers have to come into their house, and then you've got the concerns of staff too. So dealing with staff concerns, whether they're comfortable to go out and do these viewings, and what's going to happen to them, what PPE they need to wear. Obviously, meeting lots of new people. There are sort of quite a lot of people in the industry that are worried about that. And the easiest way to get around all of these problems is actually to use virtual viewings. Okay, so all the major portals now have virtual viewings. So your likes of Rightmove, your likes of Zoopla on the market have the ability to add in virtual viewings. And actually, as you'll see, there was a 215% increase in virtual viewings on Zoopla during the lockdown period. Now, those virtual viewings really can be anything. I mean, you can spend thousands of pounds on 360 cameras that give you these amazing quality videos, and you can click through and walk through the house as you please as somebody that's online. But actually, they don't necessarily need to be that. You can achieve a similar quality just by using an iPhone or an Android phone and recording it. And you can upload that to something like YouTube or Vimeo and have them shared across your website with links for people to view them, and really to give them a better idea. Now, that virtual viewing trend will immediately clean out the people that are less interested in that property immediately, and that then cuts down on the number of viewings you need to do to ensure that concerns from staff are met, your existing tenants are happier with that sort of thing. As well, and it should also increase your conversion rate on viewings to make sure that actually you're not going there for time wasters. Okay. The other things that you should be doing is dealing with a sort of clear communication to both your existing tenants and those applicants that are within that viewing, and making sure that they're aware of the situation, the dates and the times, what's happening, what their responsibilities are. Do they need to wear masks? Do they need to wear gloves? Do they need to do anything else? For the tenants, making sure they understand that there will be a viewing and they need to be out the property, and working with them. And by giving clear instructions and explanations as to why this is happening, you should allay a lot of those fears that are going to be feeding through from those different user groups. And the same with staff as well, understanding what they are responsible for, what the guidelines they need to follow. Building all that through really will make a difference. Now, that's great for your viewings, but if you do have a viewing that's successful, you've then got the issue as the confidence of those that those tenants are going to be able to pay their rent. So at the moment, there's lots of fears about job security throughout the country, with lots of different people, and dealing with what is likely to be a long economic recession, and then obviously your affordability as well. And there's actually another issue which I haven't seen before is whether you look to accept someone on furlough. Now, the acceptance of someone on furlough is an interesting one, and one that I think each individual has their own opinion on to see whether they would do that or not. And really, those problems are can at least be allayed slightly by doing your background checks on tenants. So there's lots of different options into these background checks, and each different company will have its own flow. So you can do something like a credit check, so a soft credit check using something like Experian or TransUnion, where they will check for background CCJs and give you an idea of a credit rating. Okay, and that's really the most basic thing that you can do. There's also a new trend within property management and within the industry for something called Speedy References. Now, Speedy References combine a variety of different things, so they will do things like a credit check, but they also leverage open banking to look and confirm a person's salary, which they will then use an affordability calculator to give you an idea of their affordability. Now, some of those Speedy References will also look at due dates of the rent at their previous tenancy, and they will see whether they were paying on time, so they can give you an average as to whether people were paying on time or not. And they will also look at the length of stay that they were at that previous tenancy. Particularly at this point, lots of people are looking for long-term tenants so that they don't have to go through the rigmarole of finding new tenants every 6-12 months or so. Then you have your more traditional full referencing, which combines all of the above. So they're doing bank account checks, credit checks, but they're also going into contact previous landlords, dealing with the employer, talking to any guarantors that might be required as well. And that hands-on reference will give you the fullest picture with the least amount of effort from you, but is also the most expensive. Okay. And for some, the rent guarantee insurance is still a very popular option, particularly at the moment. Now, the prices have gone up a lot since the outbreak of COVID and the issues surrounding employment. So we're now looking, I think you'll tend to be around the 200, 220 mark rather than closer to the 120 mark. However, a lot of people still feel that that is a solid investment, particularly where it's going to cover legal fees, anything like that, as well as 3 months, 6 months of unpaid rent. That's very much a nice safety blanket for you. And I think when you're doing background checks on potential tenants, you need to consider them as an investment rather than just a cost of business. Okay, whether you're a letting agent or whether you're a self-managing landlord, you need to consider those are an investment in ensuring that you're getting the right tenants. $14.99 or $10.99, however much you might be spending, is far less than it will cost you to remove that tenant if they do stop paying rent. So it's something that is well worth the price and something that is definitely worth doing. Tracking payment plans, again, this is a big issue, and potentially it's an issue that a lot of you haven't come up against before. If you've had a nice solid portfolio where the majority of your tenants do pay on time, and you don't have a problem with tracking this, then you're not going to have experience dealing with it. So obviously, due to COVID-19, many tenants struggle to pay their rent, even if they were able to be part of the furlough scheme. They were still only on 80% of their salary, causing shortfalls. That then, for you, causes issues of understanding how much rent they're paying and when they're paying it, and what those payments are actually for. So where the tenant then begins, now we're getting into this new normal, and the economy's opening up a bit more, people are going back onto full salaries, understanding what their additional payments are being made for and which transactions they're paying for. Okay, so when somebody pays, say they're paying £1,500 a month rent and they're in arrears of £2,000, when they pay you £17.50 for the next month, you as a property manager need to understand where that additional payment of £250 is being allocated, and to ensure that you've got an accurate set of accounts for when you received the income for those invoices. Okay. So there's a few solutions and a few things that you can do to make this easier for you. The first is to agree a payment plan with your tenants that works for both of you. So whether that is how long they've got to pay the money back, whether that is how often they're going to pay it, weekly installments, monthly installments, even one-off payments, whatever it might be. And put that agreement in writing so that both of you are aware of it. And personally, I would also get both parties to sign to prove that it's agreed, rather than simply just having a verbal agreement. Putting it in writing makes it more formal. And again, it's just another document that will help you in the future if you do end up in court, that you've proven you've got an agreed payment structure that wasn't stuck to. Okay. The third thing you can do, obviously, tracking arrears, dealing with a tenant statement. Now, if you've got software in your business already, this should be something very simple for you to do. If you don't, and you're still using Excel spreadsheets or a logbook, whatever it might be, you need to make sure you understand exactly what arrears are there and when they're from. So whether they're from April, May, June, how much is outstanding from each, and what you need to be doing. Now, for that, it should hopefully be quite simple for you, but I would potentially, if you're using Excel, set up an individual sheet using some VLOOKUPs to ensure that you can track each individual section. And then also you need to ensure that you're allocating all those payments to the correct overdue charge. So it's the same, as I mentioned when we were talking about the problems, dealing with that allocation is very important to ensure that you have an accurate set of accounts. So you need to make sure that those overpayments, when they come in, are allocated to that correct overdue charge. Whether you are going to pay off the most historic rents first with that money that's come through, or whether you're only going to deal with fees that come in through the payment plan. So those additional costs and additional payments that they're making to go towards arrears. That's something that you need to put into writing again with that agreement between yourself and the tenants, to ensure that you're confident and comfortable and know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to end up with very messy accounts that are going to cause a lot of issues when it comes to April next year. And then you've got your maintenance management. So maintenance obviously is something that's becoming slightly easier to deal with now that there's been some relaxing of the lockdown. But you still have problems for social distancing when work's being carried out. There's still a lot of contractors not working, some that have gone out of work and can't work now, making it harder for you to find them. But also the ones that are working have a lot of jobs to do because they weren't able to do them for so long. And then you also have the difficulty of organising and sharing information with your contractors. So it's not a case that a contractor can now come and pick up a worksheet from you and pick up sets of keys quickly and easily whenever they want. Oftentimes you'll need to organise appointments. They want to sort of remain as contact-free as possible. So again, there's a few solutions that you can deal with here. So for the social distancing within the property, this is very similar to the viewings that we spoke about. It's all about communication with the different parties, as much of it, making as much of it automated as possible as well. So talk to your tenants, send them emails. If it's automated, great. If it's not, that's fine. Pick up the phone and explain the scenario. Are they able to be in the house or not? What needs to be done, what the contractor will be doing, the measures that the contractor will be taking in terms of PPE. And then similarly to the contractor, explain those requirements as well, you know, making sure that they understand exactly what's happening and what they will be expected to do when they're there in terms of sanitization, in terms of wearing PPE. The sharing of information is also very popular and very useful for you in this scenario. Okay, so if you are using software, or even if you're just using something like Dropbox, etc., using the internet, emails, text messages, all that, even apps, that is where the time saver arrives for you. And more efficient. And then also by using using a software, maintaining that contractor database, understanding who's still working and who's not, who's trusted, who's busy, who's available, keeping that information stored against individual contacts, and that knowledge of knowing what's going on is really powerful for you as well, and will make it easier for you when it comes to organizing your maintenance to ensure that it's done in a timely and efficient manner. Okay. So all of these different issues that I've just spoken about are actually you can address using technology. Okay. Now, Arthur as a platform is one of those technologies that you can use to ensure that you're able to manage this. So, for example, with your initial tenants, you need to understand your workflows and what could be done and what can be automated. Because another problem that everyone is facing at the moment is that that you've got limited staff whilst the lettings market is picking up. I mean, dealing with sourcing tenants, for example, within Arthur, so the referencing that's available within Arthur has seen over 100% increase in the last couple of months where the market's opening up. Yet I know from a lot of people that I'm talking to, they still have staff on furlough, and there's just a lot more work for everyone. So making sure that you're more efficient in the way you're handling these things is really powerful too. So whether that is ensuring that you're integrating into different portals that you're using, whether that is ensuring that automated communication feeds out and feeds through, and even getting documents signed online, it's a major factor. Lots of people still get documents signed in person, but there's a lot of different softwares out there now to allow you to get those documents signed. So for example, you've got we integrate with a company called Signable, which is a digital signature platform. That means the property managers that use our system can actually get to the point of signing a contract without meeting tenants, okay, and keep maintaining that social distancing. You then have ongoing management as well. Again, this is all about your efficiency and automating as much as possible, communicating to individuals what's happening with their tenancy, when their rents are due, and all that different sort of scenario, and using software to communicate to you as a manager what's happening in the portfolio by cutting down admin time, by cutting down your need for manual searches. Property management software means that actually with less staff, you can still perform the same job and you can still maintain those efficiencies. It's similar with your maintenance management as well. Okay, so dealing with tenants issues that arise and informing contractors and tracking information as to what happened when, and as I mentioned, communicating those different scenarios and the different requirements for PPE, etc., through automation, through automated communication, whether it's emails or whether it's text messages. Okay. And one thing that really came to the fore at the start of lockdown is actually ensuring that you have the correct software in place in terms of access. So where working from home is the new normal, and I think will continue to be the new normal. Lots more people will be working from home. Offices are expensive to run, and if someone can work from home, that really helps you. So making sure you've got a cloud-based software is really important. And here at Arthur, we have a cloud-based system that gives you access both to a web portal and also to a mobile app, ensuring that as long as you've got access to the internet, you've got access to all the information you need to be able to run your business. But on top of that, we also give access to your other user groups. So giving you access to your other stakeholders, giving them self-service portals so they can see information, they can receive communication, they can communicate with you, and they can update their information, makes a huge difference. Okay, so whether that is tenants having the ability to raise issues and take photos with their camera on their phone, whether it's the ability for them to see FAQs, see their payment plans within the system, whatever it might be, giving them a self-service portal cuts down on their need to communicate. And I think a lot of people saw a rise in communication through lockdown with their tenants, where tenants were worried about what was going to happen. The ability to have an app and give them access to that information is very, very powerful. You then have your contractors. So contractors are able to log in and they're able to accept and decline work. Obviously, as I mentioned before, key communication through these apps, sharing of information without need for face-to-face is very powerful. And then if you do manage on behalf of owners, keeping them updated on their portfolio as well is obviously really important. And in this 21st century world, obviously we're dealing with lots of apps, but also there are lots of different software solutions for different parts of your business. Now, dealing with that within the systems, you can use connections between those softwares to ensure that you have the best solution where there's a lack of need for double entry, whether that is linking your accounting systems between your management systems, whether it's dealing with something such as contract signatures online, or even using platforms such as Zapier or If This Then That, that give you the ability to link over 1,500 different apps together and have information passing between them. What to look out for when you're looking for apps is also looking for an open API system. So the open API within something such as Arthur or any other systems is how apps connect together without the need for a native connection. Okay, so that means that you can connect things such as your CRMs to listing sites, different users having single logins, dealing with online forms to feed through into different areas, or online booking sites for viewings and things like that, and even just your own website and having that information feeding directly through into your core systems is really powerful and ensures that there's no double entry, again cutting down on administration. And then you also have reporting. So the reason to look for something like a property management software, particularly at the moment, is that ability to report, whether it's something like your occupancy reports or your team activity reports. It's very, very powerful and ensures that you're actually able to, excuse me, ensures that you're able to keep track of those KPIs that I mentioned earlier, keep track of your team performance, but also keep track of what's happening within your portfolio in terms of tenancy management and what's happening and what's going on within there as well. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at Arthur, the software itself, and I'm just going to run you through a couple of the key areas I touched on, just so you can see exactly what I was talking about within a management system. Okay, so what you're seeing at the moment is the dashboard. So this is where you can track your key KPIs and you can track what's happening within your company. Okay, but if we take a look at a unit within the system, and we'll see how Arthur can link in and save you time for your viewings in particular. So keeping records on the system, I'm able to see my tenancies and communicate with them, but I'm also able to deal with all my marketing, whether that is my images for those portals, dealing with my virtual tours, handling descriptions, and syncing all this information up into my portals then to arrange in-person viewings if I need to. If they're an unattended viewing, so the tenants are going themselves, I can arrange those too, and understanding exactly what's happening within the system and what's going on to ensure that I can create new tenancies and deal with this information. Okay. The tracking of tenancies as well, as I mentioned, is obviously very important, and dealing with rental payments and what's occurring within those is also key. So looking at someone such as David here, I'm able to see my statement within the system. I can see exactly what rent he has paid, when he has paid it, what that payment was for as well. So I can see this was for August, for example, and quickly and simply understand what's outstanding, what's overdue on his tenancy, and what I need to do and what I need to deal with. Okay. And dealing with maintenance as well within the system, understanding exactly what's occurring, who's been assigned to this this job to ensure they're completing it, what maintenance has occurred, what calls have been made, what communication with my tenant is going on at this point as well. All stored within my system. Okay. And dealing with my team, I'm able to see my team activity and understand who's done what when within the system, pull reports, talk to them, deal with them, and get a true understanding of the efficiency of my team and how much work they're doing, how productive they're being, and really make sure that the business can continue on in a successful manner, and make sure that we continue to thrive, because there is a real opportunity here for businesses to pivot and to understand and to change the way they work, make themselves more efficient, and improve what's happening within their business and their company. Okay. Fabulous. So thank you all for attending. If you've got any questions, whether it's about the new normal, whether it's about software, whether it's about problems, whatever you want to go through, please, you can use the Q&A box now, and I'll pick up any of those questions whatsoever, and we can run through them. Yep, so in order to sign up for a free trial, just go to our website, arthuronline.co.uk, and there is a free trial within there. So at the top right, you can see try 30 days free. Just need to put in your name, your phone number, and go from there. There's no need to enter any payment details into the system whatsoever at all. And you'll have 30 days free. In that time, I recommend signing up for a full demo of the system to make sure you know exactly how Arthur can work for you and how it can help you with the new normal. Yeah, so in terms of allocating different landlords to different zero accounts, it's possible it really depends on your zero setup. Okay, so if you have individual zeros for each individual landlord, much like you have the ability to switch between accounts in zero, you will have the same scenario in Arthur. If you have individual client accounts for individual landlords, which you control, and you simply remit from each individual client account, then you just reflect that in Arthur within your financial section and agree different bank accounts for each landlord. And that then feeds through into your chart of accounts and different bank accounts within the system. Okay, thanks for that question, Kavit. Good question. Any other questions at all? If not, then I'm happy to end it then. If you want a copy of the recording, please get in contact with our marketing team and they'll be happy to share one with you. Oh, sorry. Yes, the demo is free as well. Yeah. Okay, if there are no more questions, that's fabulous. Thanks everyone for attending. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. If you do want to get in contact with me directly, you can use our sales email address, which I will just get up for you now, and you can go from there. So let me just get that for you. Okay. So if you do have any questions, give us a call either on 0207 112 4860 or just email sales@arthuronline.co.uk and I'll happily pick those up for you. Okay. Brilliant. Fabulous. Thanks everyone, and look forward to hearing from you.